Number 59, Moon Rock. This is one of the more interesting and unique bars because it's very good quality and probably the grittiest bar in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. But the scent profile just doesn't make sense. It smells like smells like candy. It smells like Laffy Taffy to me. Like blue raspberry Laffy Taffy. And that is what I don't understand about this bar. Why take a bar that's so gritty and then give it a scent for kids? It's not a bad scent. It's just a bit confusing to me because I really don't understand where they were trying to go with this bar. I feel like with a better scent, this could have been a top-notch bar, but with the children's scent, downgrades it to just okay. Number 58, Bow Chicka Wow Wow. This is one of the simplest bars that they've ever made. It simply smells just like chocolate-covered strawberries. Nothing more, nothing less. I think it smells pretty good, but with some added grit, that could have elevated this bar to another level. So I feel like they didn't make this bar as good as it could have been. But it's near the top of my okay tier, very close to my like tier. So overall, I think it's very decent. Number 57, Werewolf Wash. Okay, this is going to be a complex take. I like this scent, but I think it's too loud and needs to be toned down. I got two of these bars when they first came out like 3 years ago. The first bar I used and I thought it was a little too loud and smelled a little like a synthetic perfume. But this bar I kept with my collection and did not use. As you can see, I will show you, this is unused and this is brand new. And now that the bar is older, the scent is toned down and smells more like a natural cologne. I think Squatch should reformulate this bar, tone the scent down, and this bar would be so much better and probably make my love tier. With that in mind, it does have a cousin bar, and we'll get to that soon. Number 56, and as of the time of recording this video, February 2026, this is one of their two most recent releases, the Bart Simpson bar, Squishy Supreme. And in a shocking twist, I will get to the Homer Simpson bar later as it ranked much higher in my rankings than I expected. As for the Bart bar, I like this scent pretty well. It has a nice sour apple scent. It smells exactly like apple shampoo to me. Some people have said that they think it smells like an apple Jolly Rancher, and I can see that as well. I think this bar is very good quality. It looks good, and the texture feels nice. But ultimately, the reason I didn't rank it higher is because it smells a tad too synthetic for me. It's not offensive or loud, it just takes it down a notch and slides down to my okay tier. But near the very top of my okay tier. And number 55, closing out the okay/decent tier, Fuego Fresh. Okay, first off, this bar smells very natural. It doesn't smell synthetic at all. It smells like authentic jalapenos. Unfortunately for me, I'm personally not a big fan of jalapenos, so I'm not crazy about the scent, but I do appreciate the quality and creativity of this bar. There is also a very subtle note of stark cleanse in this bar. Combined with the notes of jalapeno, I think makes her a very unique scent. But the quality is what makes this bar truly stand out from most others in the Dr. Squatch catalog. Unfortunately, I think what slides this down a notch for me is that the performance in the shower was not as strong as I was expecting. If it was grittier in the shower and felt better on my skin, this would be somewhere in the middle to the top of my like tier. But overall, this is a great bar. It just slipped in my rankings because it felt underwhelming to me in the shower. And that concludes the okay/decent tier. And now it's time for... And kicking off the light tier, a trio of total moisture bars for those with sensitive skin. Number 54, shea butter. Number 53, mango butter. And number 52, green tea butter. These are triplet bars because they're all very similar. Now, these bars do not have much scent, but that's not their purpose. These bars are for those who struggle with dry or sensitive skin, or could be good for someone who wants a healthy soap without much scent. Now, these bars do technically have scent. I'll show you what it looks like. But it's very light. Yeah, it's hardly noticeable. You know what I just realized? This smells almost identical to eucalyptus Greek yogurt. It looks like eucalyptus Greek yogurt too. Is it possible that this is eucalyptus Greek yogurt repackaged? It smells nearly identical and looks nearly identical. And remember, I told you that eucalyptus Greek yogurt was really good on your skin. And this is the shea butter one. So if you were a fan of eucalyptus Greek yogurt, try the shea butter total moisture bar. It seems like it's practically the same bar to me. These triplet bars are some of the very best for your skin in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. And I appreciate Dr. Squatch making these. So that is why they're in my like tier. Number 51, Riddler Enigma. Now, I like this bar, but this was the first bar I started noticing Squatch using a louder synthetic scent. This was released in March of 2022. So I am thinking it was around that time a lot of their bars started smelling more synthetic and less natural. Now, just because a bar smells synthetic doesn't automatically mean that it's bad. For me, they're usually bad when they're both synthetic and loud, like summer citrus. But if it's toned down, I can tolerate it. Like the Bart bar, this is synthetic, but it's toned down, which makes it much more tolerable. And another example is Resistance Rinse, which actually is a sibling bar of the Riddler Enigma. Both synthetic scents, but the Enigma bar has a softer synthetic scent, while the Resistance Rinse bar is louder. And the Riddler has a nice note of sour apple, and the Resistance bar doesn't. But aside from the note of sour apple, they nearly smell identical, which was when I first started suspecting that Squatch started recycling scents. And it made sense because Resistance Rinse came out in August of 2022, just 5 months after the Riddler bar. And I'll show you what it looks like up close real quick. Still smells good even after nearly 4 years. Number 50, Energy Bar. Now this is the bar that should have been Summer Citrus. It has a nice citrus scent and it is synthetic, but it's not nearly as loud as Summer Citrus. And here's what it looks like up close. I like it, but I feel like I may have loved it if it was a little more natural and a little less synthetic. But overall, I think it's a good bar. Far better than this. Number 49, Irish Cream and Whiskey. This has to be one of the biggest disappointments in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. And you may be wondering why it's in my like tier if it's such a huge disappointment. Because I do actually like this bar. This bar is good in its own right. It just cannot compare to the OG Irish Cream and Whiskey. I don't have an OG Irish Cream and Whiskey to display, but it's on the same level as the OG Drunken Pumpkin. It smelled insanely good, just like this. And the new recipe simply cannot compare. It just does not smell the same. The OG Irish Cream and Whiskey was a completely unique scent. I haven't smelled anything quite like it from any other soap company. But there is a bar from Dapper Yankee, the Dapper Dawn, and this one actually reminds me of the OG Irish Cream and Whiskey. Of course, I'm not saying this is as great as the OG Irish Cream and Whiskey, but it's really good. One of the best scents from Dapper Yankee. I actually made a review for this bar if you want to go to my videos tab and check it out after this video. Number 48 from the Stranger Things collection. Hellfire and Beyond. I think this bar is the most complex scent in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. It has so many notes, it's hard to describe. First off, there's a strong smoky scent. But it's not like ashes or charcoal. It's more like a smoky, tangy barbecue sauce. Then combined with a synthetic perfume scent, which by itself I think would be way too loud. But when it's combined with the smoky barbecue scent, the smoky note actually mellows out the perfume note and then balances out the scent. As I said, it's very complex. This bar smells like a complicated relationship. Two opposing notes merged together in what seems like it could be really good or really bad. I couldn't decide if I liked this scent or hated this scent. I was planning on putting this in my dislike tier, but then I used it in the shower, and that synthetic perfume scent actually morphed into a natural cologne scent. As I said, this is a very complex bar, and the scent lingered on my skin for hours after the shower and smelled really good. So the bar performed really well in the shower, and even though it says that it's a medium grit bar, it felt more like a light grit bar to me. Another example of Squatch not accurately grading their grit levels. But overall, after using it in the shower, I decided that I liked it, which is why it's in my like tier. And speaking of bars with inaccurate grit level grades, number 47, Ruthless Rinse. This is listed as heavy grit, but I didn't think it seemed like heavy grit last time I used it. So I went back and used it again a couple days ago to test it out. And again, this did not feel like a heavy grit bar. I felt some grit, but it was more like a medium, possibly a light grit. On another note, this is our first mother bar, and it's also a sibling bar. I will go into more detail later in the video. Number 46, Sinister Scrub. This one has a lot of relatives. This is our first baby bar, and I'll go into more detail about that once we get to its parents' bars. And this is the cousin bar of Werewolf Wash, which I previously mentioned. They share a similar scent, but are not identical. I should hate this bar. It definitely has a synthetic scent, but it's not overpowering. It smells like apple cobbler to me. This bar is funny because it's called Sinister Scrub, so you're expecting like some really dark notes like charcoal and ashes or something like that, but nope, it smells like apples and cinnamon. There is nothing more sinister than apples. Number 45, another Stranger Things bar, experiment number 11. And just like Hellfire and Beyond, this is also a very complex scent. But this scent is much lighter. It has a nice floral note and a really nice subtle lemon note. Here, I'll show you what it looks like up close. And this is the cousin bar of Mountain Meadow that I mentioned earlier. Now, I would say they are distant cousins. They aren't identical, but they both share a light floral lemon scent. And this definitely does smell synthetic, but it's not too loud. I like it, but if it smelled a little more natural, I think I'd like it a lot more. Number 44, Batman Brick. I love this scent. It has a nice leather note, along with a note of cream or something. It's kind of hard to describe. But the problem with this bar is that when I use it in the shower, the scent gets way too strong and upsets my stomach. The good news is that this bar now actually has a brother bar. We'll talk more about that later in the video. On a side note, I just realized something. I was just saying how nothing smells like the OG Irish cream and whiskey. But I just noticed this Batman Brick actually smells very similar. It's not as good, but it's in the neighborhood. And this bar just smells so good. It's from 2022. So it's nearly 4 years old, so the scent has died down, and now it's just right. It's perfect. Same thing I alluded to about Werewolf Wash. If this bar was toned down, it would not only be in my love tier, it would be in my top 10. This smells so freaking good. But more on this when I get to its brother in the love tier. Number 43, and the last bar in the Stranger Things collection, and of course, this scent is complex as well, Squawk Signal. This has a similar floral scent as experiment number 11, but it's combined with a note of cherry Coke. I like the cherry cola scent, but I feel like it clashes a bit with the floral scent. It's an odd combination, and I don't quite understand why they put these two notes together. I'll show you what it looks like up close. I really like the way this bar looks. I like this bar, but I feel like it could have been better if the cherry cola note was combined with some other type of note that would have complemented it better. Some kind of natural musk opposed to floral. Overall, I'd say the Stranger Things collection was pretty good. Not great, but good. Of course, with the exception of Vecna's Curse. Number 42, Drogon's Blaze. Number 41, Stark Cleanse. And number 40, Brick of the Brave. Stark Cleanse and Brick of the Brave are twins. They are nearly identical. And Drogon's Blaze is their sibling bar. And as I mentioned previously, the One Ring Rinse is their cousin bar. These four bars all share a similar scent. It's kind of hard to describe. It smells a bit like a subdued cologne. It reminds me of a cologne called 1 Million by Paco Rabanne. But I would say that the One Ring Rinse is definitely the worst of the bunch. It has an added note of orange, and then another note that smells like grass or something. And here's what it looks like up close. And then Drogon's Blaze has a stronger synthetic detergent scent. And I'll show you what this one looks like up close. It looks nearly identical to the One Ring Rinse. Here they are side by side. One Ring Rinse, Drogon's Blaze. Wow, what creativity, Squatch! And then Stark Cleanse has a bit of a powdery note. And why does it look like I'm smelling the exact same bar? Why do they all look the same? Look at this, they all look exactly the same. Still doubt that Dr. Squatch is recycling bars? And then the Brick of the Brave smells nearly identical to Stark Cleanse, except it has a smoky note added, which makes it stand out a bit more. And hey, at least this one looks a little different. Now, I would personally rank Brick of the Brave the highest of these four because of the performance in the shower. I thought that it felt really good on the skin. Not that any of these were bad, but just that Brick of the Brave was a little better to me. But once again, you've got these huge intellectual properties: Avengers, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter, and failing to deliver a single great bar. At least one or two of these should have made my love tier. Alright, I am now moving into a deeper phase of the like tier. All of the bars that I just covered could have just as easily been in my okay/decent tier. But now we're getting to the bars that I really like and inching closer to the love tier, which is really what makes these rankings videos worth it. It's all uphill from here. Number 39, Mars Bar. This one is actually really good quality. I'll show you what it looks like. It has a pretty nice cinnamon scent, and what I really like about this bar is the strength of the scent is just right. Not too strong, not too weak, and it smells natural and not synthetic, so I really appreciate that about this bar. And this bar now has a brother and a cousin. We'll get to those momentarily. Number 38, another WWE bar, Mysterio Magic. This has a nice lime scent. It actually smells like a lime margarita. I think it smells pretty good. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. It says that it's a light grit bar, but again, Squatch mislabels these grit levels. That actually looks more like heavy grit. I'm not sure exactly what those little pieces are, but they feel like little pieces of cat litter or something. And you can really feel it in there. And there's another new bar that actually uses this same kind of grit that we'll get to in a few minutes. Also, Mysterio Magic has a big brother, which is number 37, Alien Awakening. This also has a lime scent and smells a bit like Mysterio Magic, but the difference is that this one has an added note of smokiness, which makes the scent stronger, which is why I referred to it as Mysterio Magic's big brother. This is a very complex bar. The green portion here smells like lime, while the black portion smells like smoky charcoal. And these scents really open up in the shower and merge together and smell really good. And this bar feels great on the skin, so this one is excellent in the shower. It says that it's medium grit, but it feels more light grit to me. It's definitely more of a smooth bar than gritty. And some have said they think this is a brother to another bar that we'll get to in the love tier. Number 36, Oogie Boogie's Brew, which is the brother bar of Mars Bar that I just mentioned. They both have a really nice cinnamon scent. This smells like Big Red chewing gum to me, but it's a very complex scent as it has other notes as well. And I detect a subtle tropical note. It smells like fruit punch or something. It works though, it smells good. And I also detect a note of pistachio. It has a Christmassy scent. And these bars have a distant cousin that I'll get to soon. But first, number 35, Crypto Cleanse. And this is the bar that I was talking about earlier that has a stronger lather than Legendary Lather. Crypto Cleanse has the strongest lather of any bar in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. Go ahead and show you what it looks like up close. When you use this bar in the shower, hold on to it for dear life because it will slip right out of your hand. Aside from that, this is one of the most creative bars that Dr. Squatch has ever produced. I honestly think it's one of the most unique bars I've ever used from any natural soap company. It has a nice banana and mint scent, a scent that I haven't smelled before, but it actually smells just like banana nut bread to me. But the only problem with this bar is that the scent gets too strong for me in the shower and turns my stomach. If it wasn't for that, this would easily be in my love tier. As is, I have it ranked number 35, but if it didn't turn my stomach, it'd be somewhere between my top 10 and 15. This is one of Squatch's best creations, and this is what natural soap is supposed to be about. Quality and creativity, and that's exactly what this bar is. Number 34, Bay Rum. And this is the distant cousin bar of Oogie Boogie's Brew and Mars Bar I was just talking about. It has that same note of cinnamon. It smells really good, along with some other spices. And Bay Rum is the mother bar to Sinister Scrub. And I'll go into more detail once we get to the father bar. I love the Bay Rum scent, but the only problem I have with it, which is going to seem very surprising coming from me, but what they actually need to do is boost the scent of this bar. It smells great. It just needs to be a tad stronger, and to be honest, it's very underwhelming to me in the shower. I want this scent to open up more. I want my entire bathroom, no, I want my entire house to smell like Bay Rum. Not saying to make it synthetic, just saying that whatever you are using, just make the scent a little stronger. And honestly, I have no idea why Squatch has not yet made a Bay Rum cologne that would be phenomenal. Number 33, and another bar that I think they need to boost the scent of, Frosty Peppermint. I love the scent of this bar. It just smells like pure peppermint. The problem is that the scent is too weak. It's especially weak in the shower. The scent doesn't open up at all and is hardly noticeable. And it says that they have cooling menthol crystals, and maybe it does, but they were pretty underwhelming. I didn't even notice them. This is a very smooth zero grit bar, but I honestly think if they added some grit, it would make the bar a lot better. Yes, this bar is underwhelming in the shower, but the reason it's not in my underwhelming tier is because even though it is a light scent, you can smell peppermint, opposed to the SpongeBob pineapple bar where you can hardly smell any scent. So it's not this bad. At least you can smell peppermint. So this is another bar I think that Squatch should reformulate, and if they do it right, it could easily be on my love tier. Number 32, and the first of the 2 liquid death bars, Dirt Destroyer. This is just a very clean and fresh bar with an aquatic type scent. It smells a bit like blue agave to me and has a subtle note of musk. I think it's pretty good. It's a very smooth zero grit bar that offers a very deep clean in the shower. It has a really nice texture here. You can really see those chunks of Dead Sea salt or whatever that is. It looks gritty, but you don't really feel any grit. It's just very smooth and it's really good in the shower. This is what I was expecting from Nautical Sage, not this. Number 31, Flannel Forest. So this is another complex bar. So many different notes coming and going on this one. The scent itself is good, but it needs to be toned down. It's a bit too loud for me. It smells like a dessert, like a pie or something that you'd have on Thanksgiving or Christmas. But at the same time, it smells like perfume. It smells like a pecan pie perfume. And it also has like a subtle note of cranberry and a subtle note of bubble gum. I told you this was a complex bar. But the strength of this bar is in the shower. That loud perfume scent opens up and morphs into a nice warm dessert scent. It actually smells really good. And this bar has a great lather and it feels really good on your skin, and then the scent lingers for hours afterwards. The scent is a bit too loud when it's dry, but once you lather it up, the scent mellows and is really good. If the scent wasn't so loud when it's dry, this would be in my love tier. But because of the great performance in the shower, it's high up on my like tier. This is a bar that you need to experience and see what you think for yourself. All right, number 30, and probably the biggest surprise in these rankings, how high I have this bar, a bar that I didn't expect to rank this high, but after using it in the shower, I became a huge fan, and that is the Homer bar, Donut Delirium. I know this totally goes against my usual preferences, but I really like this bar in the shower. And I actually like this scent. It smells like cinnamon. It's supposed to smell like a donut, and I guess it does to some, but to me, it smells more like cereal, like cinnamon cereal. Donuts are moist and cereal is dry, and this smells dry like cereal opposed to moist like donuts. At least that's how my brain interprets it. Or my nose interprets it. But what really won me over was how good this bar felt on my skin in the shower. But let me give you a quick warning about the grit. Now this is labeled as a light grit bar, but just like the Mysterio Magic bar, it has those same little sharp pieces of exfoliant in there. So this is what these little pieces of grit look like. Does that look like light grit to you? As I've been saying, Dr. Squatch doesn't seem to grade their grit levels accurately. Of course, it's not really a big deal. If you already know in advance that this bar has these little sharp pieces of grit, it's fine because you know not to scrub very hard. But if one looks at the box and sees light grit and then just hops in the shower and then scrubs their body with any kind of velocity, they're probably going to cut themselves. So just a fair warning in advance, but once you know not to scrub too hard, it feels really good on your skin in the shower. And I just accidentally discovered something. $1 million idea right here. Take the scent of this bar and combine with the scent of Flannel Forest. These smell insanely good together. These two bars need to mate and have a baby bar. Number 29, Dark Knight Scrub. This is a bar I didn't care for on first impression. Just not a fan of this scent. It's not terrible, but just not very appealing to me personally. It has a bit of a powdery floral scent combined with a subtle note of musk or something. It's kind of hard to describe. But then I use this in the shower and it feels so good on the skin. I absolutely love the performance in the shower. It feels great and has the perfect amount of grit. Kind of a nice light/medium grit. It's just right. I like the scent a little better since it opened up in the shower, but I'm still not a big fan. But the performance in the shower elevates it high up on my like tier. Number 28, Dark Side Scrub. This is a father bar that we'll go over when we get to its baby bar. I know a lot of people don't like this bar, but I really appreciate the creativity. The black portion of the bar having a smoky charcoal scent, while the pink portion has a dragon fruit scent. The same dragon fruit scent from Ruthless Rinse, who is the mother of their baby bar coming up. So the black portion smells like charcoal, which is really good for cleaning your skin, and then the pink portion smells sweet. And although the scents are very different, they complement each other well. And I wouldn't argue with someone who says they don't like this scent, that's fine. But I like the way Squatch experimented with something different, which is why it's so high on my like tier. More on this bar in a few minutes. Okay, so now we are hitting my top 5 in the like tier. And let me just say that these next 5 are borderline love tier. They're very close. Number 27 in the second Liquid Death bar that I like even more than the previous one, Grime Reaper. This one smells like iced tea. Lemon iced tea to be exact. Combined with a nice subtle woodsy/musk note. The strength is perfectly balanced, not too strong, not too soft. It doesn't have that ultra synthetic scent like a lot of these bars do, so of course I appreciate that. It just smells nice and very natural. I like it a lot, which is why it's in my top 5 of my like tier. Number 26, another lemon scent, Nightfall Nectar. And this one is really nice and mellow. It has a subtle note of lemon and a subtle note of lavender. It reminds me a bit of their Bliss Brick that came out a couple years ago. But I don't know if they'd be family, maybe like second or third generation cousins. They have that note of lavender in common, but with this added note of citrus, I think they actually do smell pretty different. This is how you make a citrus bar, softer and natural, not loud and synthetic. Number 25, Liberty Lather. Okay, I think this bar may actually have a cousin bar. Yeah, I would say these are cousin bars. Get Dirt Destroyer back open. Yeah, these smell very similar, except Liberty Lather is a little softer. Liberty Lather has a nice fresh scent, but that's not what stands out about this bar. My first impression out of the box wasn't very high. It just seemed like an average bar. Not bad, but not anything special. And then I used it, and it instantly became a favorite of mine based off performance in the shower. It feels so good on the skin, and you can see those ingredients in there. And the texture is so nice. This became one of my favorite bars just based off the way it feels. The only reason it's not in my love tier is just because I'm not really crazy about the scent. But it's one of my top bars for performance in the shower. And closing out the like tier are 2 brother bars. Number 24, Clown Prince Rinse. And number 23, its brother, Infinity Brick. I am ranking these together because honestly, it's a toss-up between these two, and I'll explain why. They are brother bars based off how they smell, but I think one smells slightly better than the other, but the other one performs better in the shower, which is why it's a wash for me. No pun intended. Starting with the Joker bar, it has a fruity scent, like subtle notes of grape and cherry. It smells a bit like Bazooka Joe bubblegum. And then the Thanos bar comes out, and it recycles that same fruit scent, but it adds a subtle note of detergent, which takes the scent down a notch for me. So the Joker bar has a sweeter candy scent while the Thanos bar has a note of detergent, so I like the Joker scent better. But then when I used the Joker bar in the shower, I was a bit underwhelmed. The scent didn't really alter and it didn't stand out in any way. Honestly, it was pretty disappointing. And I'll show you what it looks like up close. But then when I used the Thanos bar, it had nice grit and felt really good on the skin. Show you what this looks like up close. The Thanos bar says that it's a heavy grit bar, but it didn't seem heavy to me. It seemed more like a nice medium, which is perfectly fine for me. So Joker smells better, Thanos performs better. So it's basically a tie. But if I had to pick a winner, I would pick the Thanos bar because the difference in performance is greater than the difference in scent. And that concludes the like tier, which means it's finally time for what makes the suffering of the first half of this video worth it in the end. These upcoming bars are the reason I haven't quit on Dr. Squatch. So let's get to... Okay, so before I get into the love tier, I just wanted to say that I locked these rankings in on February 1st as I was prepping this rankings video. Making this video the way that I did is a process and takes time. So once I start shooting this video, I can't go back later and add any new releases that may come out while I'm still making the video. I was hoping there would be no new releases before I completed the video, but March 6th there was, and Squatch released a new Terminator bar, I'll Be Brick, which is their 119th bar in their catalog. So good news and bad news. The bad news is it's too late to add the new bar to this rankings video because it would completely throw the rankings off. But the good news is I have the bar here and I can quickly share my thoughts and give an idea where I would have ranked it. I'll Be Brick is the cousin of Energy Bar. It has that same citrus note as Energy Bar, but combined with some note of metal or aluminum or something. It's kind of hard to describe. So because of that aluminum scent or whatever note that is, it doesn't smell exactly like Energy Bar, even though it does share the same citrus note. So the scent itself is original. I made a review 3 days ago and my first impression was that the scent was okay. Now it's a different story. The day after that review, I downgraded this to my dislike tier. But now, 3 days later, it's going in my hate tier and being stored away in the forbidden box. Whatever that metal or aluminum scent is or whatever, it is grotesque. It smells like it's getting more powerful by the day. Last night I was prepping the love tier. I've got all these great bars on my desk, and when I came in my room this morning, the room reeked and I was confused. I'm like, why does this room stink when I have all of these great bars for my love tier all over my desk? And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I realized this bar was sitting out and it was reeking the entire room. This scent is literally starting to make me nauseous. I think this one would probably be probably right in front of Suds of Darkness, probably like right around Raptor Rush, Suds of Darkness. So ranked somewhere 112th, 111th. Also, it's listed as a medium grit, but when I used it in the shower, it was more like a light grit bar. and the red dye ran all over the place just like Count Sudzilla, but it doesn't smell nearly as good as Count Sudzilla. So not only does it reek, but it's very mid in the shower as well. If you recall, I did put the Predator Purge bar in my hate tier because of the scent, but I talked about how great the performance was in the shower. But this bar reeks and sucks in the shower. So I'm going to go ahead and stash this away in the forbidden box where it belongs. Then I'm going to shower. Then I'll come back and we'll finally get into the love tier. If they ever re-release this bar, I surely will not be back. And now, kicking off the love tier, coming in at number 22, Grapefruit IPA. This bar has a scent of grapefruit and beer. When I first tried this bar, it was called Crisp IPA, and when I first smelled it out of the box, I hated it because I did not care for that grapefruit scent at all. But then I used it in the shower, and that note of grapefruit warms up and perfectly blends in with the beer hops and smells great. The scent was nice and warm, not loud and offensive. It smells natural and not synthetic. So after using it for the first time, I was surprised how much I liked it, and I instantly changed my mind. And now it's in my love tier, and I would say is probably Dr. Squatch's best overall citrus bar. Much better than this cheap smelling summer citrus. Number 21, Cool Fresh Aloe. This is just such a nice, clean, fresh scent with a note of aloe vera. This would be a perfect bar for summer. It'd be really good to shower with if you got any kind of sunburn, and the aloe vera would really help soothe your skin. Just a really nice, clean scent. If you haven't tried this bar yet, add it to your cart on your next Dr. Squatch order. Number 20, a baby bar directly created from Dark Side Scrub and Resistance Rinse, Divine Storm. This is literally Dark Side Scrub and Resistance Rinse mixed together. It's not just my opinion, you can smell for yourself. But the funny thing is, Dark Side Scrub is also actually Resistance Rinse with charcoal. So essentially they took the Dark Side Scrub bar and blended the black portion and the pink portion together to create Divine Storm. And I am all here for it. I love what they did with this bar. Squatch, this is how you combine scents in a creative way. These two contrasting scents blend together so well. And Divine Storm is really good in the shower and feels great on the skin, which is why I promoted it from my like tier to my love tier. And I really love this scent too. Number 19, Wisdom Wash. I absolutely love the scent of this bar. It has a really nice lime citrus note, similar to Mysterio Magic and Alien Awakening, but this one is even better. This is the last citrus bar left to cover on this video, and I'd say Wisdom Wash and Grapefruit IPA are the two best citrus bars in the Dr. Squatch catalog. The only negative about Wisdom Wash is that it was a little underwhelming to me in the shower. It wasn't bad, but I was hoping for more. I would say Grapefruit IPA performs much better in the shower, but Wisdom Wash smells better and is the best smelling citrus bar in the Dr. Squatch catalog, which is why I ultimately decided to rank it slightly ahead of Grapefruit IPA. Another $1 million idea? Merge these two bars together. Number 18, Deep Sea Goat's Milk. This was the bar I always said was the best bar in the Dr. Squatch catalog for your skin. And then they came out with the Total Moisture bars, so those are probably the best Squatch has to offer for people with sensitive skin. And those are good bars, but if you're looking for a bar that's really good for your skin and has a better scent with a little more personality, you should definitely try Deep Sea Goat's Milk. Unlike the Total Moisture bars, this bar has some grit and you can really see the little pieces of oat exfoliant in there. The scent is very light but nice. It's just an all-around great bar and a bar that I think women would love as well. Number 17, and the Batman Bricks identical twin brother, practically the same bar. Number 17, Maverick Musk. I was so glad when I got this bar and discovered that it's basically a toned down Batman brick, which was something I was hoping Squatch would make. I love the Batman brick, but the problem for me is when it's lathered up, the scent gets too strong and upsets my stomach. But the Maverick Musk bar doesn't do that. It smells essentially the same, but it's just toned down a tad, which is just perfect for me. It has a nice leather note and some kind of cream scent, combined with a subtle note of smoke. It smells like a nice cologne. This is advertised as a heavy grit bar, but once again, it's more like a light or medium grit bar. But it's great in the shower nonetheless. And this is another scent Dr. Squatch should turn into a cologne. Number 16, Polar Rush. This is what Frosty Peppermint should have smelled like. This one has a great scent. It smells like a really nice blend of peppermint and spearmint. Alongside the mint scent, it has menthol and charcoal, and here you can really see the charcoal in there. Now this one is advertised as heavy grit, but it feels more like a nice medium grit bar to me. I think the grit is perfect on this bar. I love the way this bar feels. When this was first released, I thought that it was a new full-time bar, but turns out that it's limited edition, which I think is a mistake. This should definitely be available full-time. It's far better than Coastal Mist and Lumberjack Lodge. But hopefully this gets re-released during the winter season, and if it does, you should definitely give it a try. Number 15, and this is sad. Bliss Brick. Look at this. The indigo dye has completely faded, and it has basically no scent left either. But it's not the mere fact that the scent has faded that's sad. What's sad is that this is the most recent bar available. Look at that. I got this in the summer of 2023, nearly 3 years ago, in no re-release. This is what the bar used to look like. A really nice indigo blue shade. Now look at it. This bar had such a nice, calm, pleasant lavender scent. I like it so much that it's ranked number 15. It's in my love tier. So this bar is ranked ahead of over 100 other bars in the Dr. Squatch catalog, and it's unlikely that I'll ever get to buy another bar again. And they have done this with a slew of other limited edition bars that I'll talk about in more detail momentarily. Bliss Brick is a bar that would appeal to those of us who like softer scents. I actually used the other Bliss Brick bar I had as a hand soap, and it was great. And I wanted to order another couple of these bars, but of course I couldn't. I think Squatch should start making hand soap. Smaller rectangular shaped bars with softer scents, and Bliss Brick would be a great hand soap. Some bars seem better suited for the shower, while others would make a better hand soap. Deep Sea Goat's Milk would make a great hand soap, and I think Wisdom Wash would as well. And this Mountain Meadow bar feels more like a hand soap than a bar that you would scrub your body with in a shower. Number 14, and this is my biggest jumper from my previous rankings. Coming in the love tier, number 14, Coconut Castaway. Okay, let me explain why I changed my position on this bar. When I first got this bar, I got it on its very first batch. So when I got the bar, I don't think it had even finished curing. You can see the flakes falling off of it during my review. And it had this odd rubber chemical scent, and I remember that turning me off. But last year, I decided to try a new bar out, and it's so good now. That chemical scent is gone. It's so much better. And this performs really well in the shower. Very smooth, light grit, and has a really nice, creamy lather. This has now become one of my favorite bars, which is why it's been promoted to my love tier. Number 13, Pine Tar. This was another bar that I hated the scent of when I first smelled it out of the box. But then I used it in the shower, and the scent opened up and smells so much better now. And instantly jumped into my love tier. It doesn't really smell natural. It has a mild synthetic scent, but whatever fragrance they use here smells great. And this is one of those bars labeled heavy grit. It is actually heavy grit. As you can see, it has nice oud exfoliant and also has charcoal. And I love the texture of this bar as well. It feels really good. I'd say this is one of the 3 grittiest bars in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog. The other 2 being Moonrock and Cold Brew Cleanse. I'd say these are probably the 3 grittiest bars that Dr. Squatch has produced, so if you're looking for a really gritty bar, you should try one of these 3. Unfortunately, Moonrock is limited edition, so it's not available often. But Pine Tar and Cold Brew Cleanse are in the regular lineup on the Dr. Squatch website. And you can find Pine Tar in a lot of stores. Let us know in the comments which other bars would you say are the most gritty in the Dr. Squatch catalog. Number 12, a Dr. Squatch signature, Fresh Falls. This has such a nice, distinctive, original scent. Haven't smelled anything quite like this from any other natural soap company. I would say this is their signature bar. It's a nice, smooth, zero grit bar, and I really like that shade of blue. And this scent translates well to all of their other products. The deodorant is awesome, the lotion smells good, and the shampoo and conditioner works really well. You just can't go wrong with Fresh Falls. If anyone is looking to try Dr. Squatch for the first time and you're not really sure where to begin, I recommend trying Fresh Falls because it's a very unique scent exclusive to Squatch that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I think it's one of those rare scents that pretty much everyone would like it. Maybe not everyone would love it, but I don't think many people would dislike it. So Fresh Falls would be the perfect bar to start out with. Just don't start out with Coastal Mist. Alright, so that's the first half of the love tier. I'm going to go ahead and stop here for now and come back tomorrow and finish the love tier and complete this rankings video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you want to help support the channel or tip me for the work I put into this video, I have a PayPal and a Cash App link on the homepage. All donations are appreciated and will go towards making more content like this. Alright, we are back to finish up the love tier and finally conclude this rankings video. Coming in at number 11 and one that you're going to be shocked by. I'm surprised myself, but I don't really care who disagrees because I love this bar, and that is Kong Crush. This has such a unique scent. It's very complex. It has a nice cedarwood note combined with a subtle smoky note. And then like this warm incense note. It's kind of hard to describe, but it all blends in perfectly together. It has like this bitter sweetness. I'll show you what it looks like up close. It's a nice medium grit bar. And I would agree that it's medium grit, but it's on the lighter side of medium grit. It's good in the shower, but it's the scent that makes this bar stand out. So I was extremely close at ranking this number 10, but ultimately, I just couldn't slip it past number 10, Stone IPA. Unfortunately, I run into the same dilemma with Stone IPA that I have with Bliss Brick. Squatch won't re-release it, so the bar I have is nearly 5 years old. So as you can see, it's discolored. That nice teal green is now a burnt green. And there's practically no scent left. This bar had charcoal, menthol, and beer hops, and the scent opened up and came alive in the shower. This was one of their top tier bars in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog for performance in the shower. And that ultimately is why I chose it at the 10 spot over Kong Crush. But I'm quite sure that I'm going to run into the same problem with Kong Crush as I have with Stone IPA and Bliss Brick. They're not going to re-release this bar once this current batch is gone. I love these three bars, and it's unlikely I'll ever get to buy a new one down the road. Why produce a bar if you refuse to ever re-release it? Squatch should re-release each of their limited edition bars every 2 years or so, 3 years at the max. But don't produce an extraordinary bar like Stone IPA and then never re-release it. I love this bar, which is why it's ranked number 10 out of 118/119 bars in the catalog, and it's crazy to think that I'll never be able to buy another one of these bars again. But unfortunately, that's what it looks like. All right, number 9, and I know a lot of people are going to think that I'm crazy for this, and again, I don't care what other people think because this is the most underrated bar in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog, and that is Spearmint Basil. Sometimes simple just works better, and that's precisely what this bar is. Just a perfect blend of spearmint and basil. It's a nice smooth bar, and you can see some specks in there that are actually peppermint leaves. So you've got spearmint and basil and peppermint leaves, and it all just works so well together. The strength is just right, and it smells nice and natural. If you like the scent of spearmint and you haven't tried this one yet, add this one to your cart on your next Dr. Squatch order. Number 8, in a welcome newcomer to my love tier, a bar that I actually missed out on its first release, but was able to grab a bar on its re-release. See why it's important to re-release your bars? Think of all those who missed out on Stone IPA on its first release and still haven't got to try it. So re-release this. All that to say, my number 8, Ninny Scrubbins. This one definitely surprised me because I was not expecting to like a Christmas themed bar with a marshmallow scent, but they made it work. This is another complex scent. The first note that jumps out at you is pine. It smells a bit like a Christmas tree. But then when you use it in the shower, the marshmallow scent opens up and buries the pine scent, and then your whole shower smells like a warm dessert. It's complex and hard to describe, but in the best way possible. It doesn't smell like marshmallow straight up, but more like a warm dessert with melted marshmallow on top, like a sweet potato pie or something. And then it has some other very subtle notes, like I can slightly detect a note of cranberry or something. And I don't know if it's my imagination or maybe my odd sense of smell, but I detect a slight note of cola, like Coca-Cola. When I first smelled this bar out of the box, I thought it was decent. But once I used it in the shower, not only did that scent open up, but it also felt great on the skin. A very nice light grit bar and performed really well in the shower. I was amazed how much I love this bar. It really caught me by surprise. This is how you do a holiday bar, Squatch, and thank you for re-releasing it. Number 7, in the last bar from the original Star Wars collection, Only Hope Soap. This was a bar that grew on me. When I first smelled it, I thought it was okay, but not anything special. And the scent is still not one of my favorites, but it has grown on me and I like it. The scent is hard to describe. It smells a bit like a potpourri, but it's a very light scent. But the scent is not the strength of this bar. The reason I have this ranked so high is because of the way this feels on my skin. It has bentonite clay and feels amazing. In fact, this would be my number 1 bar in the entire Dr. Squatch catalog based on the way it feels. And to show you this isn't just my imagination, I googled bentonite clay. Bentonite clay is a natural absorbent volcanic ash compound rich in minerals like silica, calcium, and magnesium. Renowned for its ability to bind to and remove toxins, it is widely used for skin care, treating acne and impurities, hair care, and as an internal detoxifier. It works by creating a negative charge that attracts positively charged toxins, making it effective for skin detox and potentially managing digestive issues. And that is a totally accurate assessment. Now I'll show you what it looks like up close. I cut these bars into pieces and used as a hand soap, and every time I washed my hands, they felt so good. And the light scent lingered and smelled really good on my hands. So I was always looking for an excuse to wash my hands. And this is another bar that I think women would also love to use. And note to Squatch, I know you have filtered out the inventory from the original Star Wars collection, but please do not let this bar go extinct. If you're not ever going to re-release the original Star Wars collection, please repackage Only Hope Soap into a new full-time bar. Number 6, and this is about where I would rank the new Gold Moss. Now let me clarify, the OG Gold Moss scrub would still be my number 1 if they were still producing it. But since they replaced it like 4 years ago, I have to rank the new Gold Moss bar. And the new Gold Moss is still great in its own right. It's just that it pales in comparison to the original. But this bar, like Only Hope Soap, also feels really good on the skin. Not as good as Only Hope Soap, but very good nonetheless. But the reason I have it slightly ranked ahead of Only Hope Soap is just because I like this scent better. Even though this isn't as good as the original, it still has a really nice scent. And this is another unique scent that I feel is exclusive to Dr. Squatch. I haven't really smelled anything quite like it from any other natural soap company. It has a nice, warm amber scent with a sweet note of brown sugar or something. And a very subtle, earthy note of oak or something. It's hard to describe, but it's a really pleasant scent. I'll show you what the bar looks like up close. This is a very smooth zero grit bar, and it feels really good on your skin in the shower. And this is another bar that I also think women would love. And I'm actually surprised that Squatch has never released any kind of Gold Moss products other than the soap bars. I think this would make an excellent deodorant, shampoo, or lotion. Squatch, I think it's time to expand the Gold Moss lineup. And now we are getting to the top 5. Number 5, something Squatch did do right in 2025, a new addition to the full-time lineup, Sandalwood Summit. And number 4, its twin brother bar, Brick of the Dead. This was a great move, Squatch. They took limited edition bar Brick of the Dead, which was one of my favorite scents, and then repackaged it and called it Sandalwood Summit. And since Sandalwood Summit is in the full-time lineup, that means this scent is now available all year round. Genius! The only minute difference between these two scents is that the vanilla note is toned down on the Sandalwood Summit. Other than that, you can't really tell a difference at all. So this is another one of those complex bars that's hard to describe the scent. It has an earthy scent with a note of vanilla and also a very subtle note of black pepper. It smells a little peppery. As crazy as it sounds, this actually smells like the ground, with a note of vanilla and black pepper. I know that doesn't sound appealing, but it actually smells like cologne. And this is another unique scent created by Squatch that I haven't smelled anything quite like from any other natural soap company. And the reason I ranked Brick of the Dead ahead of Sandalwood Summit is because I think Brick of the Dead is a little better in the shower. Go ahead and open up Sandalwood Summit. They are both good in the shower, but I think Brick of the Dead is a tad stronger. And I like the texture of the Brick of the Dead bar a little more than Sandalwood Summit. And I'll show you what this one looks like up close as well. But there aren't really any significant differences. They're nearly identical, and they're both ranked in my top 5 out of 118/119 bars. And Brick of the Dead is the father bar to Sinister Scrub. So Brick of the Dead and Bay Rum mated and had Sinister Scrub and then added a synthetic note of apple cobbler for some reason. Coming in at number 3 and at number 2, another set of sibling bars. Number 3, Wood Barrel Bourbon, and number 2, Headless Rinse. These bars are definitely brothers. Some would say they're identical twins, but I think these scents are a tad different. I would say the Headless Rinse has a stronger note of pumpkin, and the Wood Barrel Bourbon has a stronger note of bourbon. Smells like a cologne from the heavens. I guess God had to counteract that Straw Hat Brick scent from hell. And in case you didn't already know, Headless Rinse is essentially the same scent as the OG Drunken Pumpkin. They didn't re-release the OG Drunken Pumpkin bar like they should have, but they did create a new bar with essentially the same scent and called it Headless Rinse. I think the biggest difference between these two bars is that Headless Rinse has a slightly stronger pumpkin note, while the OG Drunken Pumpkin has a slightly stronger bourbon note. And Headless Rinse has this very subtle note of pineapple added to it that the OG Drunken Pumpkin bar didn't have, but I actually think it works well. Now I'll show you what it looks like up close. This is a smooth zero grit bar with charcoal that is great for your skin. Now I'll show you Wood Barrel Bourbon. This is a nice medium grit bar. And you can see this one looks a little grittier. Both of these bars are good in the shower, but the strength of these bars are not in their performance, but in their scent. Smells so good. Ultimately, I ranked Headless Rinse at number 2 slightly ahead of Wood Barrel Bourbon just because I think the pumpkin note is a tad better than the bourbon note, but honestly, it could go either way. After all, these are ranked number 2 and 3 out of 118/119 bars. But as great as those two bars are, there's just one that I think is a tad better. And that is another new 2025 edition, number 1. Spiked Cider. This scent may be the best smelling scent that Dr. Squatch has ever produced. Or at least the best since the OG bars. But I'd say this is on par with the OG Drunken Pumpkin and OG Irish Cream and Whiskey. It's that good. Now I'll show you what this looks like up close. This is a smooth zero grit bar, and it has a nice lather. It's good in the shower, but the strength is not in the performance. It's in the scent. Spiked Cider is another one of these complex scents that's kind of hard to describe. It has a nice, warm, sweet scent, like a warm dessert. It smells like a cross between a pumpkin pie and a cobbler. It smells like a pumpkin pie cobbler. But not like an apple cobbler like Sinister Scrub, but more like a pear cobbler. With a note of cinnamon and a hint of orange citrus. Like I said, it's a complex bar, but I really think the majority of you would love this scent. Unfortunately, this is another limited edition bar, so Squatch, please re-release this bar in the fall. I would hate for it never to be released again, and then in like 2030, it looks like this. All right, we have finally reached the end. That concludes ranking all 118/119 bars in the Dr. Squatch catalog as of March 12th, 2026. But I'm sure by the end of the year, Squatch will be up to 135 to 140 bars as they continue to release new bars fast and furiously. Maybe I'll do a revised rankings then. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. Be sure to share this with others, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you happen to miss part 1 of these rankings, here's a link for you to check it out.